If you've ever stared at your lab report and seen the words PSA elevated, you know the feeling. That quiet knot in your stomach, that sudden wave of questions. Is this serious? What did I do wrong? Can I fix this naturally? And almost immediately, you begin examining everything: your sleep, your stress, your exercise, and especially your diet. You start choosing healthy foods. You switch snacks. You grab mixed nuts instead of chips, almonds, cashews, peanuts. After all, nuts are heart-healthy, full of protein, rich in good fats. My right. But here's what many men are never told. Not all nuts are prostate-friendly. In fact, some of the most popular healthy nuts may quietly increase inflammation and make it harder for your PSA to stabilize. Welcome to Urology for You. I'm Dr. Adriana Wells, and today we're going to break down the 3 nuts you may need to limit if your PSA runs high, the 4 nuts that actually support prostate balance, and a simple daily snack strategy you can start tonight. Let's begin with the foundation. PSA stands for Prostate-Specific Antigen. It's a protein produced by the prostate gland, a small organ located just below your bladder. When PSA levels rise, it does not automatically mean cancer. Elevated PSA can occur for many reasons: benign prostatic enlargement, inflammation, prostatitis, urinary infections, recent ejaculation, even cycling or prolonged sitting. But here's the key message. A rising PSA often reflects irritation or inflammation within the prostate. Think of it as a signal, not a verdict. And inflammation is deeply influenced by something you control every day: your diet. Many men focus only on medications or procedures. But what you eat directly influences hormonal balance, oxidative stress, circulatory health, immune activity, inflammatory pathways. The prostate is particularly sensitive to inflammatory shifts in the body, and nuts, while often marketed as universally healthy, are highly concentrated sources of fat. Here's where nuance matters. Not all fats behave the same way in the body. Some fats reduce inflammation. Others can fuel it, especially when consumed in excess or without balance. That's why we need to separate the myths from the science. Before we continue, a quick reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. Always discuss dietary changes with your healthcare provider, especially if you're monitoring PSA or taking medication. Now, let's get specific. The 3 nuts to limit if your PSA is elevated. 1. Peanuts and peanut butter. This one surprises people. Peanuts are inexpensive, convenient, and widely consumed, but technically, peanuts are not tree nuts. They are legumes, similar to beans and lentils. Why does that matter? Because peanuts are often stored for extended periods. During storage, they can develop aflatoxins, naturally occurring molds that may increase oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress doesn't stay localized. It affects liver function, immune signaling, systemic inflammation. And systemic inflammation can contribute to prostate irritation. Peanuts are also particularly high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 fats are essential, but modern diets already contain far too much of them, especially compared to omega-3s. When the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio becomes unbalanced, the body shifts toward a pro-inflammatory state. For men with elevated PSA, that's not ideal. And then there's peanut butter. Commercial peanut butter often contains added sugar, hydrogenated oils, excess sodium. Even natural peanut butter can be easy to overconsume, quietly adding hundreds of calories in a few spoonfuls. Extra body fat, particularly abdominal fat, is strongly linked to increased estrogen activity, chronic low-grade inflammation, higher PSA levels. If you love creamy spreads, consider alternatives like almond or walnut butter in moderation. 2. Cashews. Cashews are smooth, buttery, and frequently found in mixed nut blends. But nutritionally, they present a few concerns for prostate-focused men. First, cashews are lower in omega-3 fatty acids compared to walnuts. They also contain more saturated fat than many other nuts. While saturated fat isn't inherently harmful in moderate amounts, excessive intake may contribute to inflammatory signaling in susceptible individuals. Second, cashews contain oxalates. In moderate amounts, oxalates are harmless. But for men who experience urinary discomfort, kidney stone history, or pelvic sensitivity, higher oxalate intake may aggravate symptoms. Third, and this is common, cashews are often heavily salted. Excess sodium can raise blood pressure, increase fluid retention, contribute to vascular stiffness. The prostate thrives in an environment of smooth circulation and reduced pelvic congestion. Excess sodium works against that goal. This doesn't mean you must eliminate cashews completely, but they're best treated as an occasional indulgence, not a nightly ritual. 3. Macadamia nuts. When overconsumed, macadamia nuts are often described as luxurious, rich, creamy, indulgent. Nutritionally, they do contain monounsaturated fats, which can be beneficial. However, the concern with macadamia isn't necessarily the fat type, it's the calorie density. A small handful can exceed 200 calories and 20 grams of fat. For men already struggling with weight management, frequent high-calorie snacking can contribute to gradual fat accumulation and excess adipose tissue, especially visceral fat increases inflammatory cytokines and disrupts hormonal balance. More body fat means higher estrogen conversion, increased insulin resistance, greater inflammatory burden, all of which can influence prostate health. Macadamias are not bad, but portion control is critical. If eaten, they should be limited to small quantities, balanced within total daily calorie intake, not consumed mindlessly from large containers. So now you understand the 3 nuts that may complicate PSA management when consumed excessively: peanuts, cashews, large portions of macadamia. But here's the encouraging news. You do not need to avoid nuts altogether. In fact, certain nuts may actively support prostate health, and this is where the conversation becomes empowering. The 4 nuts that support prostate balance. 1. Walnuts, the inflammation regulator. If there were a prostate smart nut, walnuts would be at the top of the list. Walnuts are rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, ALA, polyphenols, antioxidants, zinc. Omega-3s help reduce inflammatory signaling. They support vascular flexibility and cellular resilience. Research from institutions, including the University of California, has shown that regular walnut consumption can improve cholesterol markers and reduce inflammatory gene expression. What does that mean in plain language? Walnuts don't just provide nutrients, they help shift the body toward a calmer internal environment. For men over 50, that shift matters. A serving size, about 7 whole walnuts per day. Add them to oatmeal, Greek yogurt, salads, smoothies, or enjoy them plain as a measured snack. Consistency matters more than quantity. 2. Almonds, the cellular protector. Almonds are one of the most balanced nuts available. They provide vitamin E, magnesium fiber, monounsaturated fats. Vitamin E acts as an antioxidant shield, helping protect delicate prostate cells from oxidative damage. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and vascular tone, improving blood flow to pelvic tissues. Stable circulation supports prostate function. Almonds also help regulate blood sugar levels. Why does that matter? Blood sugar spikes trigger inflammatory cascades. Over time, chronic glucose instability contributes to metabolic dysfunction, which influences PSA levels indirectly. The key is preparation. Choose raw almonds, dry roasted almonds, unsalted versions. Limit to approximately 10 to 15 almonds daily. Small habit, long-term benefit. 3. Pistachios, the circulation supporter. Pistachios are often underestimated, but nutritionally, they are impressive. They contain plant sterols, vitamin B6, potassium, antioxidants, gamma-tocopherol, a powerful form of vitamin E. These nutrients support nitric oxide production, which keeps blood vessels relaxed and flexible. Improved blood flow enhances nutrient delivery and reduces pelvic stagnation. In small clinical studies, daily pistachio consumption improved vascular function and reduced oxidative markers in men. Additionally, cracking pistachios from their shells slows consumption, encouraging mindful eating and portion control. Recommended amount about 1 ounce per day, roughly 45 pistachios. Always choose unsalted. 4. Brazil nuts, the selenium powerhouse. Continuing from pistachios, let's talk about one of the most powerful yet most misunderstood nuts for prostate support: Brazil nuts. They are large, dense, and not something most people eat daily. But nutritionally, they are unique because they are one of the richest natural sources of selenium. Selenium is a trace mineral that plays a critical role in antioxidant defense, immune system regulation, thyroid hormone balance, cellular repair mechanisms in the prostate. Oxidative stress can irritate tissue and contribute to inflammatory signaling. Selenium supports enzymes that help neutralize that oxidative burden. Balanced selenium levels have been associated in research with healthier immune responses and improved antioxidant activity in men. But here is something very important. With selenium, more is not better. Excess selenium intake can cause fatigue, hair thinning, brittle nails, digestive upset, and that's why Brazil nuts must be consumed carefully. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day is sufficient. That's it. Not a handful, not a bowl, just 1 or 2. That small amount provides enough selenium to support your antioxidant defenses without pushing you into excess territory. You can eat them alone or combine 1 Brazil nut with a few walnuts and almonds to create a balanced prostate-conscious snack. This is about precision, not overcorrection. Now that you understand which nuts to limit and which to prioritize, let's simplify this into something practical. Because knowledge without application changes nothing. You do not need a complicated meal plan, you need consistency. Here's a straightforward daily framework you can follow. Start your day with metabolic stability. If you eat oatmeal or Greek yogurt, add 4 to 5 walnut halves, 5 to 7 almonds. This combination provides omega-3 support, vitamin E protection fiber for blood sugar stability, sustained energy release. Beginning your day with anti-inflammatory fats helps shift your internal environment toward balance rather than reactivity. And remember, inflammation accumulates quietly. Your goal is daily calm, not dramatic intervention. Midday strategy around mid-afternoon. Many men experience energy dips. This is often when processed snacks sneak in. Instead of reaching for chips or sugary snacks, measure out 1 ounce of unsalted pistachios. This provides healthy fats, protein, circulation support, satiety without blood sugar spikes. Cracking the shells slows eating and encourages awareness. Mindful eating prevents overconsumption, which protects weight balance. And weight management matters more than most men realize. Excess abdominal fat increases aromatase activity, the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. Hormonal imbalance contributes to prostate tissue sensitivity. Small daily calorie discipline creates long-term hormonal stability. Evening strategy. After dinner, many men snack out of habit rather than hunger. This is where peanuts and cashews often appear. Instead, choose one of the following: 1 Brazil nut, a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil drizzled over steamed vegetables, a small handful of walnuts. Keep total nut intake around 1 to 1.5 ounces per day. That's enough to gain benefit without excess calories. Hydration is also critical. Healthy fats are metabolized more efficiently when your body is well hydrated. Dehydration can worsen urinary symptoms and pelvic discomfort. Aim for consistent water intake throughout the day, not large amounts all at once before bed. Why portion control is so important. Here's a common misconception. If a food is healthy, more must be better. That logic does not apply to calorie-dense foods like nuts. Even prostate-friendly nuts contain concentrated energy. Overconsumption can lead to gradual weight gain, which fuels inflammatory pathways. Your prostate responds not just to single nutrients, but to your overall metabolic environment. Balanced weight supports lower systemic inflammation, healthier insulin sensitivity, better testosterone to estrogen ratio, improved circulation, all of which influence PSA trends over time. Let's step back for a moment. When PSA rises, fear often takes over, but PSA is a biomarker, not a diagnosis. It reflects tissue activity, inflammatory state, glandular stress. Diet alone will not cure medical conditions, but diet absolutely influences inflammatory tone. And when you combine balanced fats, stable blood sugar, healthy body weight, regular physical movement, stress management, you create a physiological environment that supports prostate stability. Nuts are just one part of that strategy, but they're a powerful one because they're eaten so consistently. Daily choices compound. Quick recap. If your PSA tends to run high, limit, or moderate. Peanuts and peanut butter, cashews, large portions of macadamia nuts, prioritize walnuts, omega-3 support, almonds, vitamin E and magnesium, pistachios, circulation and antioxidant support. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts, selenium precision, total intake 1 to 1.50 daily. Consistency beats intensity. As a urologist, I want to emphasize something important. Dietary changes are supportive tools, not replacements for proper medical evaluation. If your PSA is elevated, follow up with your physician, track trends over time. Discuss imaging or additional testing if recommended. But while you are monitoring, do not feel powerless. Your daily lifestyle matters. You influence inflammation every single day. And when men take ownership of small habits, especially dietary ones, I often see improvements not just in PSA trends, but in energy, sleep, urinary comfort, metabolic health. Prostate health is not isolated from the rest of your body. It reflects your overall internal balance. If you've been worried about your numbers, if you felt that quiet anxiety after seeing PSA elevated, understand this. You are not helpless. You do not need extreme diets. You do not need fear. You need steady, informed choices, swapping peanuts for walnuts, choosing pistachios instead of processed snacks, limiting portions instead of mindless eating. These are small decisions, but repeated daily. They create meaningful change. Your body responds to consistency. Your prostate responds to calm. If this video helped clarify things for you, please support the channel by liking and sharing it with another man who may benefit. This is Urology for You, and I'm Dr. Adriana Wells.